The words you used yesterday are creating your reality tomorrow. A blind king spoke a few bitter words, and it led to the death of millions. This is how powerful your speech is, not just in the sound they create, but in the worlds they build and the destinies they destroy. This isn't a metaphor. It's a law of the universe, a law of karma that operates with perfect precision. The story of this king isn't just ancient history. It's an urgent warning for every word that is about to leave your lips. His name was Dhritarashtra, and he was born into a world he could hear, touch, and feel, but never see. Born blind, he was the rightful heir to the throne of Hastinapura, one of the greatest kingdoms of his time. Yet the law decreed that a blind man could not be king. The crown was passed to his younger, sighted brother, Pandu. This single act of fate planted a seed of bitterness deep within Dhritarashtra's soul. He was a king in blood, but not in name. A ruler in potential, but not in practice. This deep, festering resentment became the dark soil from which a forest of tragedy would grow. It's a feeling many understand, the sting of being overlooked, the pain of a destiny denied. For Dhritarashtra, this pain would curdle into a fatal weakness, a blind love for the son who would become the vessel for all his frustrated ambitions, Duryodhana. This is where the karma of words begins, not in a shout, but in a whisper of resentment that poisons the heart before it ever touches the air. The throne room of Hastinapura was vast and echoed with the history of a great dynasty. For Dhritarashtra, these were sounds of a legacy he was denied. He could feel the cold, carved stone of the empty throne, a seat of power he could touch but never truly possess. He could hear the court whispers, the subtle pity in their voices, the judgments on his fitness to rule. This sensory world, devoid of sight, amplified the bitterness within him. He was surrounded by the phantom of his own kingship. But this internal poison needed an outlet, a way to manifest in the world. It found its perfect vessel not in a sword or a scheme, but in the birth of his first son, a child who would carry his father's unspoken rage into the next generation. The birth of Duryodhana was not a joyous occasion. It was marked by terrifying omens. Jackals howled and the sky grew dark, signs the sages interpreted as a warning of impending doom. They advised Dhritarashtra to abandon the child to save the dynasty. But Dhritarashtra's love, already twisted by his own ambition, was as blind as his eyes. He ignored the warnings. He saw in his son not a threat, but a second chance, a living weapon to reclaim the glory he felt was stolen from him. This is where his verbal karma began to accumulate, not through curses, but through complicity. Every time Duryodhana acted with malice, with jealousy, with cruelty towards his cousins, the Pandavas, Dhritarashtra's silence was a form of encouragement. His failure to say no was a powerful yes. The most infamous example was the dice game, a rigged spectacle designed to humiliate the Pandavas and strip them of their kingdom. As his sons dragged the Pandava queen, Draupadi, into the court to be disrobed, a moment of profound evil, Dhritarashtra did not speak a single word of condemnation. The court was filled with the sound of Draupadi's desperate cries for help. the sickening laughter of his victorious sons, and the heavy, suffocating silence of a king who refused to speak justice into existence. In that moment, he wasn't just a silent observer, he was an accomplice. He thought his silence would protect his son's newfound power, but he failed to understand a fundamental law of the cosmos. Every word of justice not spoken, every cry of evil not condemned, was a karmic debt being recorded, and that debt would have to be paid in blood. The seeds of resentment and silent approval finally blossomed into the devastating Kurukshetra War. Dhritarashtra, too old and blind to fight, remained in the palace, a vortex of anxiety and biased hope. His charioteer Sanjaya was granted mystical vision by the sage Vyasa, allowing him to see the battlefield and narrate the events to the king in real time. Dhritarashtra's questions to Sanjaya were not those of a neutral monarch. They were the desperate inquiries of a father who only wanted to hear of his own son's victory. He would ask, "What did my sons do?" Never, "What was the righteous thing to do?" His words, spoken in the privacy of his chambers, were actively fueling the war from miles away, pouring the energy of his attachment and desire into the conflict. It was a form of remote-controlled destruction, guided by speech. He sat in his cold, dark room, feeling a torment of helplessness and rage, only able to see the carnage through the words of another. His tormented mind painted horrific pictures of the very violence he had implicitly sanctioned for years. One by one, Sanjaya brought the news: the death of the great Bhishma, the fall of the teacher Drona, and then the deaths of his own sons. Each report was a hammer blow, the universe delivering the invoice for his decades of poisonous silence and bitter words. The karma he had sown with his tongue was now being reaped on the battlefield. But even as the reports of his sons' deaths came, one after another, the most devastating consequence, the final payment for his karmic debt, was yet to come. The climax of Dhritarashtra's story is not a grand battle, but a quiet, crushing realization. The war ended. All 100 of his sons were dead. His beloved Duryodhana was gone. The kingdom he had coveted, the dynasty he had sought to secure for his child, had turned to ash. The words he spoke and the words he failed to speak had architected a reality of absolute desolation. His verbal karma had fully ripened. In a final, grief-stricken act of rage, when the victorious Pandavas came to pay their respects, he embraced the warrior Bhima with the intent to crush him to death, his immense physical strength fueled by a lifetime of sorrow. It was only Krishna's foresight, substituting an iron statue for Bhima, that prevented one last tragedy. The statue shattered into 100 pieces, a final, chilling symbol of his 100 dead sons. The full weight of his karma had come due, leaving him a broken man with nothing but the echoes of his failure. The fallout from a lifetime of verbal misdeeds was a slow, tragic fade into obscurity. He and his wife Gandhari, along with Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, lived as guests in the kingdom they once ruled, their lives a constant, painful reminder of what their attachments had cost. Eventually, they retreated to a forest to live their final days as ascetics, seeking to purify themselves of their sins. But karma's law is inescapable. A forest fire, a force of nature as blind and impartial as justice itself, consumed them. It was not a punishment from a vengeful God, but the natural, final consequence of the destructive energy they had put into the world. His story is a terrifying lesson. The words you speak are not just vibrations in the air. They are seeds. Words of gossip, of judgment, of cruelty. Plant weeds in the soil of your future. Words of encouragement, of truth, of compassion. Plant gardens. Every sentence is a choice that defines the world you will one day inhabit. Think of the casual lie, the harsh criticism, the praise you withheld. Each one is a cause, and the effect is guaranteed. If this profound lesson in the power of your own words resonates with you, consider following our channel for more wisdom that can protect your future.